3 November 2020, and I'm joined by Mr. Tinashe Jonas from Zimbabwe. How are you, sir?
Very well, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Fantastic. And today I want us to quickly discuss what has just happened. We had a report by Alex Magaisa that Hopewell Chinóno has been arrested. This has just came out less than an hour ago. What is your opinion on the arrest of Hopewell Chinóno? If it has happened, what is the government of Zimbabwe trying to do, and what are the implications of this arrest?
Okay, first I would want to paint the context of the ZANU-PF or the government of Zimbabwe, how they relate to Hopewell Chinóno. The first is that Hopewell Chinóno, of course, is known as a journalist, and Hopewell Chinóno has changed from being a journalist and is an MDC alliance, I can say, executive member. There's no denying that Hopewell Chinóno is fighting ZANU-PF or the government of Zimbabwe politically. Of course, we all know that the MDC alliance has assumed that they are the gods of fighting corruption in Zimbabwe, although they are the most corrupt also. So Hopewell Chinóno is fighting ZANU-PF politically, and when you are fighting ZANU-PF politically, you should not expect them to fold their hands, because a government is a big machinery. When they react, obviously they react. So, I mean, that must be clear that Hopewell is an MDC Alliance executive member who is using his journalism to fight the government of ED. And the government of ED surely would not look at him. They would react.
Okay, so what did you do now? What is this, the thing that he has done that caused him to be arrested again?
Hopewell Chinóno is not working. He is not running any business that we know, although he always talk about the gods in his rural area. Hopewell Chinóno meets and dine with the Brian Nichols, the American ambassador to Zimbabwe. It's clear that Hopewell Chinóno is surviving and living on donor funds. So he was told to shy away from social media. Clearly, Hopewell Chinóno has got friends who are journalists. Even if Hopewell Chinóno had any stories, whether of corruption or whatsoever, he could pass the stories to anyone, to another journalist who can actually then publish the whole stories. But Hopewell Chinóno deliberately is very active on social media, thereby breaching his bail conditions. And it's intentional. He knew that he would be arrested, but maybe the more he's arrested and make headlines, the more donor funds he's getting.
Okay, I don't think many people agree with you, and we've talked about this quite a number of times. Is tweeting and saying something on social media something that is worth getting arrested for in this day and age? Is ZANU-PF correct in arresting journalists for tweeting?
Okay, if Hopewell Chinóno is being arrested by police, it's not ZANU-PF, it's the government. Remember, a country is run by the government. A system is government. It's a government system, although the party, which is the ruling party, is ZANU-PF. So people must be able to separate ZANU-PF and the government. There are people who are working for the government of Zimbabwe who are MDC supporters or members. They are soldiers, they are police officers, they are teachers. Some are members of ZAPU. When you get a job within the government circles, they don't ask you for your party membership. Some people even joined the government as ZANU-PF, but they've since changed to other political parties. So I think there's always a problem there. People, they always say government is ZANU-PF. Then you said, is it correct for Hopewell to be arrested for tweeting? It's not about, there are so many people who are on social media who are not being arrested. But when you are on bail, remember Hopewell Chinóno is arrested, and when he goes to trial, there's a possibility he might be found guilty or he might be found not guilty. But he is given a bail condition not to tweet or to play with the social media, to be on social media. That must be respected until his case is done. That's why I said, even if Hopewell Chinóno had anything to tweet or to put on Facebook, he could have even just forwarded to his other fellow journalists who could even put it, whether he could have a fake account or whatsoever. There were so many options for him to do, but he decided to go ahead on.
Okay, so what I'm displaying now is a letter that I received from Amnesty International. They wrote this letter to me the first time that Hopewell Chinóno was arrested. And this is a big international organization. They are saying in this letter that this letter was written to Matanga. And they are saying to this letter, this arrest of people like Hopewell Chinóno is a violation of human rights, and it brings bad attention on the country of Zimbabwe. What do you think about this? Is this good for Zimbabwe? Is this the way that we can build our image as a country when you do this kind of things?
Okay. The reality is that there's a government in place in Zimbabwe to run the country. Now, Amnesty International, we don't build our image by listening to different international organizations. Amnesty International is not just a civic organization, it's also a political. These are organizations which are controlled by US and other countries. The same Amnesty International, they don't write to US government when black people are being killed and whatsoever. They're quiet. So the civic society is political. What is happening in Zimbabwe the government of Zimbabwe is in place to run the country. The issue of human rights comes when it's African countries. We have got an example last year, if I'm not mistaken. This is a Saudi Arabia journalist who was I think he wanted to apply for a new passport in Turkey, and he went to Saudi Arabia embassy in Turkey. He was killed, and it's suspected he was put in acid, and within the premises of the house of the ambassador, and the US is quiet. US is going on doing business with Saudi Arabia like nothing happened. The killing of Khashoggi, that the prominent Saudi Arabia journalist who was I think a correspondent or a writer to either to the Washington Post. He was based in America. It made international headlines, and other countries even went on to stop doing businesses with Saudi Arabia. The US is quiet. Why? Because they are getting oil in Saudi Arabia, and they don't have a problem. So the issue of human rights, it's an issue which is being selected. It's selective.
Okay. As I said to you, there are many people who don't agree with you. And I want to play for you what Mr. Matapo just said about this arrest. I talked to him a bit earlier, and I want everyone to watch what Mr. Matapo said. It's a bit long, but at least Mr. Jonas will get a moment to rest there. So let us play Mr. Matapo.
Today is 3 November 2020. My name is Albert Matapo. I'm talking about what is happening in Zimbabwe. I'm so saddened by the situation that is taking place in Zimbabwe. I am told, I'm reliably informed, that Hopewell Chinóno has been arrested once again because they are saying he has breached a certain whatever it is. But look, this is not fair, because how can you keep on arresting somebody for just mentioning what you are doing? I am very sure, I'm confident of the fact that he has been arrested because he has been talking about this smuggling of gold by Henrietta Rushwire, and that this smuggling of gold is because of is actually connected to Emmerson Mnangagwa and his family. And this is no secret. Actually, how can we talk about smuggling of 6 kgs of gold when we know that there are aeroplanes that are taking our gold, that are taking our diamonds outside every week? Emmerson Mnangagwa and his team are doing the worst that the world has ever seen. People of Zimbabwe, Zimbabweans, are we sure that this is the leadership that we want? I've always said, let us all unite under Zimbabwe People Power Movement. Zimbabwe People Power Movement is the only way, and it is the hope for Zimbabweans. Those of you who are still waiting and hoping for elections to come, 2023, 2028, 2033, and so on, those elections will yield nothing. And our country is going to be grounded, because this regime is looting literally everything. This is not fair. Zimbabweans, this is time for you and me to unite under Zimbabwe People Power Movement, because Zimbabwe People Power Movement is the only hope. Unless if and otherwise I am no more normal. If I am normal, then people of Zimbabwe, why are you not responding to this? You still believe in elections when our people are being victimized every day. Our people are being arrested in Zimbabwe. Our people are facing difficulties every day. I am saying no to that. We will not allow to be intimidated. Nobody is going to cow us. We will not accept that. I know that I was put on a list of those being on surveillance, and also those who are said to be on wanted list. What is that? That's idiot, Mnangagwa and your team. How can you do that? Soldiers, police officers, CIOs, prison officers, all state agents, if you are still listening to Emmerson Mnangagwa and team, you are idiots. If you are not...
Right. I think we got the point. Mr. Jonas, you were listening to Mr. Matapo. I'm very sorry. This came very just now, so I didn't have time to edit it and position it properly. Mr. Matapo is raising a number of points. He's saying the arrest of Hopewell Chinóno is a continuation of behavior by the Mnangagwa government of suppressing and oppressing the people of Zimbabwe, and they need to be fought back. This is what Mr. Matapo is saying, that this government has been led to do what they're doing for a long, long time, and now people need to fight back. Don't you think this behavior of the government is creating room for people to start believing that this is the only way?
Okay. Remember, every person is entitled to have, opinions, your own, yeah, I mean, it's your right to do that. But let me comment on Mr. Matapo's assertions here. Mr. Matapo spent over 90% talking about the politics of Zimbabwe and his political movement and the removal of ZANU-PF from power. And he actually just touched on the arrest of Hopewell. And then it was an opportunity for him to canvass support for his movement. It was an opportunity for him to denigrate, to blame the ZANU-PF and the president of the country. This is the same thing that we are doing as opposition in Zimbabwe. An opposition must actually be a partner to the government, because as an opposition, you are an alternative government. You are there to see that the country is progressing, there's development in the country. Now, the arrest of a journalist who has breached his bail condition, that must result in the president being removed from power. That must result in a revolution. I think, to me, it's a joke, because Mr. Matapo is dwelling on the narrative of MDC Alliance that ZANU-PF must go. But from his explanation, Mr. Matapo, he's not explaining how, if people join him today, how are they going to remove ZANU-PF or the government? Because before, he was talking about collecting signatures, maybe taking signatures to United Nations, and then I don't know up to now where he is now with the issue of signatures. I mean, if any political party has got a program and a strategy to remove ZANU-PF and the government, it's fine. But what I want is people must be told how ZANU-PF is going to be removed. Because the issue of demonstrations, people getting beaten, being beaten, arrested, I think every leader now must stop abusing poor people. Because in Zimbabwe, the people like Hopewell Chinóno, he has got properties, he has got cars, he's living pretty. But we don't want the poor people to suffer. My heart, it bleeds when a poor person is in prison. Politicians, the leaders must go in front, must be arrested, must go to jail. But the poor people must be spared, because they are not getting anything from this politics. So opposition political parties are promising poor people that ZANU-PF is going to be removed. As if you just blow ZANU-PF out of office. I mean, people must be aware and analyze these opposition political parties. People must talk what they can do. So what Mr. Matapo is saying, Mr. Matapo is simply expressing his mind, but he knows that what he's saying is not going to work.
Okay, Mr. Jonas, let me hold you while I talk to Tafazo. I want Tafazo to give us his point. Tafazo, please remember we've got a lot of people watching, so let's keep this clean. You wanted to make a point, please make your point. And Changamire Dombo, WhatsApp me on the number on the screen so that we can add you if you want to be added. So Tafazo, you wanted to speak, please go ahead.
Aiwa, ndidi kutaura zvangu zvakawanda mukoma Gambakwe. Ndaida ngovhunza mukoma Jonas vari apa. Kuti mukoma Jonas ndomboona sokuti mune pattern nyatsoiziva hangu. Asi pamunouya pa-platform each and every time, you are talking about other parties, how they are operating, how they are doing, how the wrongs, and I don't know what can I say about it. Ndachikumbira kuti mumbotaurawo zvepati yenyu ndimbonzwa kana mozobvunziwawo naGambako kuti Hopewell wadi asiwo tikuzivewo kuti makamira sei nepati yenyu, because muri kunyanyotaura zvevamwe vanhu. I don't know kana muchindinzwisisawo. Thanks.
Okay, so Tafazo, you can listen from home. Thank you very much. I heard your point. So you can leave the broadcast so that will add more people. Mr. Jonas, you heard Tafazo. He is saying he's concerned that he is saying Hopewell is doing wrong. But is that your policy position as I Do Zimbabwe? What is your policy position on journalists? When you get into office, are you going to arrest journalists?
Okay. I think the first question was you want me to talk about my political party. We are discussing about Hopewell Chinóno's arrest. That this is the topic that I'm invited on this platform to talk about. So Hopewell Chinóno, we are talking about his arrest. So that's the topic of discussion. So this is a discussion. I'm not campaigning. That's why Tafadzwa, I'm not going to say to you, join my political party. I'm not here on this platform tonight to campaign for people to join my political party. We are talking about Hopewell Chinóno. Every time when I'm here, normally there's a topic we are discussing. So there's a difference on being on a platform to discuss a certain topic and campaigning. If I'm here to campaign, I will talk about our manifesto, our programs, but I'm not here to campaign. We are discussing a topic. Yes,
I get the point. But I asked you a question on your as your political party. Are you going to arrest journalists that tweet the wrong things, or you are going? What is your position as I Do Zimbabwe?
Okay, I think there is no party. Our policy is freedom of expression, but this freedom of expression must be guided within the framework of the Constitution, because some people can express themselves insulting others. Others can express themselves defaming other people. Freedom of expression must have limitations which are spelled out within the Constitution. So it depends on what as a party, when we become the government has got arms, like the parliament, the everything. If a parliament happens to make a certain law, you don't then say as a party, we are going to remove this. But the rule of law, constitutionalism, must be of utter importance.
Okay, let's give Simongosi a chance to speak. Simongosi, please talk quickly, make your point, and then we give other people a chance. Okay, we can't hear you. Right, I think what I'll do is let Simongosi fix his speakers, and I want to take you back to what you just said. Here in South Africa, journalists can say anything about the president, his son, his corruption, his secretary, his wife, Jacob Zuma. No one ever gets arrested for all those things. What is so special about Zimbabwe that journalists are being arrested for frivolous reasons, like tweeting?
Okay. Before I answer you, I want to give you an example and also say what is so special in South Africa that South Africa soldiers can kill 44 unarmed mine workers in Marikana, and then the international community is quiet. There's no organization about human rights which are making noise. What is so special about South Africa? Secondly, today in Durban, the Umkhonto weSizwe military veterans of the ANC went about in town looting foreign-owned shops. What is so special about South Africa that the rest of the world is quiet about that? Xenophobia. How many Zimbabweans were killed in this lockdown? So many people were even dying in South Africa from the police brutality and the military brutality. And what is so special that the world is quiet? So now we are talking about what is so special. There is a lot of human rights abuses in this country. And South Africa has got the highest murder rate outside a war zone. Only a country which has got a full-scale war can match or exceed the murder rate in this country. And no one is talking about that. They say every 26 seconds a woman is raped in South Africa. And it's not making noise in the world. What is so special?
Okay. Right. You know what I want to do? I want to give Tafazwa a chance to speak, and then we will answer you, because I'm keeping all these questions that you're asking. So Tafazwa, please make a contribution.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Gabakwe. I want to agree with most of the things that Mr. Jonas is saying. You know, actually in Zimbabwe, you cannot only have access to information and the freedom of press to only journalists. You can see how people like Hopewell, they're using their social media to actually bully other citizens who are not agree with them. So for me, I think as a journalist, you should also practice the journalism with integrity and also professionalism without bullying other citizens. You see what he was doing to Japreza recently. Is this the democracy that they want to promote? You can see that idea is actually the same with most of the MDC people. The moment you don't agree with them, you are paid by ZANU-PF, you are attacked, everything is happening. So for me, I support whatever that is happening. I don't agree with what Oppo is using social media to inspire other people and also to talk bad about the country, sometimes to whose age, to whose benefit. If you go to other countries, they differ with most of the things. But when it comes to policy issues and when it comes to national issues, they actually agree. They actually agree, and they don't speak against the country. What is happening now? If you go to the United States, there is a law that as a citizen you cannot decampaign the United States or talk bad against the United States outside the United States or to other foreign powers. So for me, I don't see any reason. They just want to have to be online or to have international headlines and whatsoever. So I agree with most of the things that Mr. Jonas is saying.
Okay, so Tafazwa, thank you very much. I'm going to ask you to leave the stream so that Changamire can speak, and then we can go back to Mr. Jonasi. Thank you very much, Tafazwa. I'll ask you a question later, so you must stay on. Right, Changamire, how are you? Changamire, you got the floor. Right, I think Changamire is having a problem with his network. So I'm going to remove you from the stream, and I'll put back Mr. Jonasi. Mr. Jonasi, if someone says something you don't agree with, do you arrest them?
Okay, thank you. Let me just add on what Tafazwa said. In the United States of America, the law is called the Logan Act. The law that will be the new version of the upcoming law in Zimbabwe called the Patriotic Act. You are not allowed to sabotage your own country. And then I'm going to touch about Mr. Matapo talking about when he was given a chance to comment about Hopewell's arrest. He went on to say Hopewell Chinóno is arrested for the 6 kg gold of belonging to E.D. Mnangagwa and his family. I want to say that is not correct. Why? Because Mr. Matapo is saying there are aeroplanes which are leaving Zimbabwe with diamonds and everything. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has got the capacity to hire private jets which can carry even 200 kg of gold. Secondly, the president, being a president of the country, it means you command the army. He is the commander of the intelligence. He is the commander of the police. If President E.D. Mnangagwa and his wife, his sons, want to smuggle, remember there's Fidelity, the company that is officially allowed to export gold in Zimbabwe. The president can take his gold to Fidelity. It will be packaged and exported officially. No one can arrest someone. There's no need of the president's family to smuggle gold. No one can dare to arrest someone who has been sent by the president. Because if Henrietta Ruswaya was sent by the president, she was straight away from her house driving to the tarmac of the aeroplane without being searched. The president has got the capacity to give Henrietta Ruswaya a diplomatic passport. If Henrietta is the runner, surely she could be using a diplomatic passport and even a private jet.
Okay, so let's give Changamire another chance. Changamire, please try to make your mic work this time. How are you, sir? Okay, I don't think his mic is going to work tonight. Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Can I go ahead? Okay, first of all, before I say anything, I want to say congratulations to my brother, Tinashe Jonas. He has just graduated from being an idealist to a realist. Zimbabwe is home to all of us. And for us as people to progress, we need to come to the realization that it's not time for us to be fighting each other. What we need to be doing is to put resources together to see how we can move our country forward. Point number one. In as much as America, Britain, and Europe do come here and say they care so much about the people of Zimbabwe, if it is true that they are imposing sanctions on the people of Zimbabwe because of human rights issues, fair and fine. But I have one question for them. Why is it in 1992, Queen Elizabeth II came here, walked on the red carpet with President Mugabe at a time when people in Matabeleland were being butchered? No sanctions were imposed on Zimbabwe by then, only for them to be imposed in 2000. Why? The issue between Zimbabwe, America, and Europe has got nothing to do with the issue about human rights. It's about bilateral, permanent interest of America, as simple as that. So I think the legislation that is going to come into place, which is going to compel all of us who call us Zimbabweans to say, you can't speak bad about your country, is good and is the way to go. It doesn't make sense for MDC and other opposite political parties to come to us and say, we want sanctions maintained, we want sanctions imposed because of human rights abuse. So you want the people of Zimbabwe to suffer so that you come into power. So you want the
Changamire, I want to stop you. I want to stop you, Changamire.
Yes.
You know why I want to stop you? I'm getting where you're going, but I want us to focus on Hopewell tonight. So I think what I would do is I want to invite you over the weekend. We're having another discussion on sanctions.
Oh, okay, fine. Wait a minute. I was going there. At least 3 minutes, I'll be done with that one. The Hopewell Chinóno issue. Okay, can I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, fine. I'm not so sure if Hopewell Chinóno is a journalist or a media practitioner, but I think he's now an activist. So much noise is made about Hopewell Chinóno because he got arrested, to the extent that a lot of people, before they even get to understand why he has been arrested, we have got so much, we've got fabrication of issues as to why he has been arrested. He has been arrested because he violated his bail conditions. And him being arrested, he has got nothing to do with the Henrietta Rushwaya being arrested at the airport with the 6 kgs of gold. In fact, the people who arrested Henrietta Rushwaya, they are our security forces. If it is true to say the gold belonged to Mnangagwa, why then would he allow Henrietta to be arrested? Suppose it's true the gold belongs to the wife or to the family. They've got better means and ways of taking the gold out of the country without you realizing. But what we need to realize is Hopewell Chinóno is making a lot of money out of these arrests. Every time he gets arrested,
I get the point. Money. Okay, this point has been made. So I would like to ask you to leave the stream. Let's give Farai a chance. Please listen from the stream. I heard your point. You said that Hopewell has been arrested because he is playing to the gallery, the international gallery. So let's now give Farai a chance to speak. Mr. Changamire, please leave the stream and let Farai come in.
Okay, great. Gambakwe, thank you for having me. Well, firstly, I think kudos to Johannes. I think he makes very credible points around this narrative. So I suppose what I want to do is I want to quickly give my own opinion on the issue. I think we risk as Zimbabwe media houses to be alarmist on issues that don't require an approach of being alarmist, because the issue here is quite simple. Like any other country, if you go to Saudi Arabia, or Saudi Arabia has a great relationship with the United States. If you go to Bahrain, if you go to South Africa, and there are due processes there, there's the rule of law there, or whatever they define to be the rule of law there, we don't hear the outcry and the level of outcry that we're hearing when it comes to the concerns that or challenges that our country faces. As it pertains to Hopewell's case, it's quite clear, and we were all aware there was a huge publicity around his bail conditions. These bail conditions have been betrayed not by him, not by anyone else, but by himself. And these bail conditions, I'm sure, if we were aware of them, he too was aware of them. Now, to then leverage the profession of journalism, we and decry that perhaps it is because he's a journalist that these actions have been taken. We risk diminishing its practice and the very ethics of the profession. So we must be candid and honest in our reporting in as far as it concerns why Hopewell has been arrested. He has been arrested because he, not anyone else, not any external force, not Mwamchene, nothing else, but himself, has placed himself in a position to betray his own bail conditions, and as a consequence, he has been arrested. It's as simple as that.
All right, so Farai, thank you very much. I want to remove you from the stream because we've got so many people who want to come in. Please listen from home. Okay. Right, onward. It's your chance now. Please make your contribution.
Thanks, Mr. Gambakwe. I think most of your speakers today are quite spot on. The question should be, was there a bail condition for Mr. Chinono? If there were bail conditions, did he violate those bail conditions? Indeed, he violated, and he did so deliberately. This is a man who strives on attention seeking, as put correctly by Tinashe there to say, that's how he gets his funding. He gets his funding by tarnishing and smearing the name of the country. And definitely a stop needs to be put for people like Hopewell Chinóno and their kind. We can't, as a country, continue to be on the spotlight for unnecessary reasons because of one person who's actually seeking to get additional dollars or whatever that might be. So this is a cause for concern. And yes, he actually, if we have to follow the other counter argument that says, why is he being arrested? So are we now saying that if Hopewell is to maybe probably, let's say, kill somebody today, he must not be touched simply because he's Hopewell and is a blue-eyed man of the American embassy? This cannot continue. And like quite correctly pointed out, there is a situation in Mozambique. Terrorists are wreaking havoc there. No one is paying attention to that. Why? If it's to go with human rights, I think there was a comparison between Zimbabwe and South Africa in terms of human rights. In Zimbabwe, we've never killed the number of people who have been killed under xenophobia in this country. So we have to be honest. We must be sober-minded when we engage in this kind of discussion. And we are very glad of the new legislation that is going to deal with these matters. I think it's going to help in terms of putting a stop to this madness. We are sick and tired as Zimbabweans. That will be actually my contributions if you don't have any other questions along the contribution that I put so far.
All right, thank you very much. Onward. I think your contribution is clear. You are also saying he violated his bail conditions, and you are saying there's too much focus on Zimbabwe. So please listen from home. I want to give Smongosi a chance to speak. Smongosi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. First, I want to say people, they like to play to the salary about these things. The arrest which is happening to Hopewell Chinóno, you know exactly what he's doing in the past. And you know what? He's putting our country into another dimension. The Zimbabwe is the only country which we have. We don't have another country. People should understand one thing. Politician or no politician, people should follow the rules to the end. People, they are doing these things just to sabotage the country. The people who are suffering are the poor people, not the rich, like Hopewell Chinóno and so forth. Like now, Albert Matapo, he was talking about removing ZANU-PF from power. How can you remove ZANU-PF from power if you're hiding someone? You're telling people to go and revolt against the government. And now, if the people does that, who is going to get arrested? Is it Matapo or the people, the innocent people? And we should know and understand that our country is into this situation because of us, the people of Zimbabwe, because we're failing in everything to stand together and to try to solve our problems as one. Let's not go around and blame the government. You're blaming the government is blaming who? It is not blaming anybody. Let's stand together and solve our problem so that everybody can be free, not to attract the things, the people outside of our country. There are many things which are happening in other countries. You can't hear anything about them. But now in Zimbabwe, one thing, our journalists are being paid by the Western to suppress, look like sanctions. Is the government being attacked by sanctions? No. Me and you, Kambako, Jonas, everybody who is sitting here is being attacked by the same sanctions. Please, let's work together and unite as Zimbabweans. Whether you MTC, you ZANU-PF, the only country which we have is Zimbabwe. If you look at Libya, how it is today, you're going to cry, my brother. Tell your listeners and your viewers, let's stand together. There is no need to blame each other. Let's move forward as a unity, as a Zimbabweans. Thank you.
Okay, Smunkos, thank you very much. And we'll talk again. So just watch us from home. And I want us to have you as the last caller, someone who's going to call in. And I'm going to go back to Mr. Jonasi. Thank you very much, Smunkosi. And Mr. Jonasi, you have seen a majority of the people here. They agree with you in terms of bail conditions, the fact that journalists should not be talking internationally bad about their own country, that the new law that is coming which will stop people from interacting with foreign embassies is good. And obviously they're saying Hope brought this upon himself. As you saw, I personally don't agree. I'm on a list which is circulating, which says I must be arrested and questioned when I go to Zimbabwe. Do you think the government of Zimbabwe, the new dispensation, is doing the right thing? Are they not supposed to do something different?
Okay. My answer will be in two phases. The first will be, let's say the government is doing the right things. Then we say congratulations and keep on doing the right thing. The second answer, let's say the government is doing the wrong things. We are the citizens of Zimbabwe. Surely there's no problem when we engage. We need, that's why I'm saying the word opposition probably was put a long time ago. Now we don't need opposition. We need partners. A citizen of Zimbabwe is a partner of the government. No matter you are not a member of ZANU-PF, an opposition political party is a partner of the government, not a partner of ZANU-PF. So if we understand that this is our government, if there are wrong things, why can't I pick a phone if I've got the number of maybe Honorable FB Moyo? Why can't I pick a phone if I've got his number? If I don't know his number, I've got his office address. Why can't I go to his office and say, Mr. Honorable Moyo, I would want to have a word or two with you? And then I engage him. Those who can engage, I mean, there are ministers, there are mayors, why can't we engage? There is local government. The government, we're not talking about the president only. A councillor is a government, and a member of parliament is a government. Why can't we engage them at local level? Sit down with your MP, sit down with your councillor, and voice out. Your MP, when he goes to parliament, he has got an opportunity to talk on your behalf. The problem in our country is that when someone says, "I don't like ZANU-PF," you don't even like the government. That's the problem. We want a certain political party to take over. While the ZANU-PF is in power, the country must work. There must be medication. There must be good roads. If MDC is going to take over from ZANU-PF, whether after 3 years or after 5 years or 10 years, the country must, the people must live well. There are many people in Zimbabwe who doesn't vote. There are so many people in Zimbabwe who are not members of ZANU-PF, MDC, any political party. So are we saying those people must suffer? We have got so many people in Zimbabwe who doesn't like politics. So who is going to protect those people? So when we talk about ZANU-PF and MDC and other political parties, we must not forget that there are so many citizens in Zimbabwe who are not into politics.
Okay.
So if the government is not doing the right things, citizens are they are the supervisors of the government. Every government needs monitoring. Even if you are a journalist, you post things you think they are not good for the government. You are allowed to do that as long as you are not inciting. When, for example, when Mr. Matapo is saying any Zimbabwean who is not listening, who is still listening to ED, he must not be normal. That's not a progressive way of engaging as an opposition leader. I was once doing that, but I've changed. Because what if one day Mr. Matapo now teaches us not to listen to the president? What if he comes 2020 or another year, Mr. Matapo becomes the president of the country? You would now want to change us to listen to him as the president. And it might be difficult. So what I'm trying to say is that Mr. Matapo loves Zimbabwe as much as me, as much as Mr. Kambakwe. So why must we fight if we want to build one Zimbabwe?
Okay, I think the point is made. We're on 47 minutes and 47 seconds. And there are obviously two sides to this story. It's new. We don't know what has happened. We don't know if Hopewell was arrested or he was just called in. So tomorrow we're going to know. But there's a lot of emotion surrounding this issue. People are very emotional. You saw how many people wanted to join this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
People they're worried that our country is getting a lot of bad press. And I do not know if the police, maybe they could come and issue a statement when this kind of things happen so that people know what is happening. Because so far we heard it from Magaisa. What do you think? Is the police communicating properly with the citizens?
Okay. Okay. Let's just assume in Zimbabwe, on average, maybe 100 people. Remember, last year I was in prison for almost 2 months. I can tell you that more than 50 to 100 people were coming to Harare remand prison. Almost 50 to 100 people per day. And what about other prisons in Masvingo, in Mutare? Probably, let's just work on 200 people are arrested per day. Are we then saying the police must issue a statement per every arrest? Or we are saying the police must issue a statement when they arrest a famous person? And then how famous is that person? At a ward level, at a district level, at a provincial level, or at a national level, or international level? I think it becomes, to me, it's a problem if police must issue a statement per every arrest.
Okay. So if I was to go to Zimbabwe now and I run a media house that just talks whatever it likes, should I get arrested?
Okay. Mr. Gambakwe, let me address one thing here. We have got so many journalists in Zimbabwe, and some who are not even journalists per se, they just go online, live, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and broadcast. The word journalist must not just be limited to someone who is professional. With the advent of social media, anyone who is in possession of a smartphone is a journalist, whether by default or whatsoever. But it's not correct that everyone in Zimbabwe who goes live and talk politics or tweets or Facebook is in prison. Otherwise, we should have a situation whereby over 90% of Zimbabwean journalists, let's say political journalists, must be in prison, and then a few are outside. But journalists, they are free. They are working freely in Zimbabwe. But if it's one journalist or two who are arrested, we make it like Daily News is closing tomorrow. All other media houses are closing in Zimbabwe because their journalists are in prison. That's not a correct position. But there are laws of the country that people must observe. Surely we can't be a progressive nation when our president is under attack. Almost anyone who has got willy-nilly, people are attacking the president. We have got a president who is being quarantined by the nation. We have got a government that is being quarantined by the nation, quarantined by the international community. And then where are we going as a nation? If ED is in office right now, surely let's support him. If ZANU-PF is in power now, let's support them. Why are we fighting ZANU-PF when we don't even have a plan to remove it? I want people who stand up there and say, I don't like ED, I don't like ZANU-PF, and I've got my plan. In 2 months' time, ZANU-PF is going to be history. Those are the people that we can talk to. But to not to like ZANU-PF, not to like the government of ZANU-PF, and then you are doing nothing, you are on WhatsApp and whatever. MDC alliance must have opposition parties in Zimbabwe must run into must have strategies to talk bad about the country, to sabotage the government, the country. That's not a political strategy, and it will never work.
Right, Mr. Jonas, it's a weekday, so normally I don't have these long discussions. And Smongoza, I see you're still there, but I think now we need to wrap up because people need to go and sleep. The point that you're making is that Hopewell violated his bail conditions. What exactly did he do? Which bail condition did he violate?
Okay, Hopewell is now on social media as an activist, not as an activist, Hopewell is an MDC Alliance executive member, but they can't give him a position for strategic purposes. He is a politician, he's not an activist. He's a politician and a proud member of the Chamisa Chete choir. So he is fighting a political battle, what they call a struggle. In a struggle, obviously there are consequences. So Zimbabweans must not treat Hopewell Chinóno as a journalist. Hopewell Chinóno is a Chamisa Chete choir member who is fighting ZANU-PF. Hopewell is emotionally and personally fighting ED, not actually even ZANU-PF. Because any corruption in Zimbabwe, Hopewell is centering it to. It's not correct that in Zimbabwe the only person who is corrupt, the only family which is corrupt is the family of the president. And anyone else in Zimbabwe is not corrupt. All the corruption that Hopewell is talking about in Zimbabwe, they start and end with the family, the first family only.
Is it possible that someone is trying to make Mnangagwa look bad by doing this, arresting this?
Okay, corruption, corrupt activities that Hopewell is writing about. They've got a way to link ED. I mean, seriously, that's not correct, because the ED, Hopewell has got a personal fight with the ED, and the gullible people are going to be dragged into that fight. Hopewell is not fighting corruption in Zimbabwe. Hopewell is fighting ED.
Okay, what's wrong with fighting ED?
It's wrong because he is not coming out clearly to fight ED. He is coming out as like fighting corruption. Hopewell will never mention corruption within opposition municipalities. He will never. So if Hopewell wants to fight corruption, corruption must come from different sectors. Within opposition, there's corruption. So if we want to fight corruption, let's fight corruption within ZANU-PF. Let's fight corruption within opposition. Let's fight corruption within church organizations. Let's fight corruption within state entities. Let's fight corruption within private companies. The moment we limit our space of corruption, then we are not fighting corruption.
Okay, so let's conclude at that point, because obviously, as I said, I want us to wrap up.
Yeah.
If Hopewell is to be arrested and the international community has an uproar and says Zimbabwe is not a good country, let's put sanctions on Zimbabwe. Is that not what we're trying to fight against? The bad image, the sanctions. Is this not going to bring sanctions on Zimbabwe?
Okay. The Zimbabwean government must not be a toy to the international community, expectations of how the country must be run. Because Zimbabwe is not involved in how US is run. Zimbabwe is not involved. Our sovereignty. We went to war for our self-governance. So we won't be policed and instructed by the Western countries on how to run Zimbabwe. That much. If our bad image, if our image will be going to be affected, then so be it. We need a good image. We need international engagement. We need a brand Zimbabwe to appreciate in terms of value and business or whatever attraction. But we won't compromise on sovereignty. We won't.
Okay. You still haven't answered the question of whether a person like me should be arrested. I cover topics here that are so... Yeah.
Remember, the government of Zimbabwe, let me say the president of the country is not a police officer. If someone violates, within the government of Zimbabwe, we have got the Justice Department, we have got the Police Department. All these are departments, they employ people who think. So if the police saw that, or the court realized that Hopewell has violated these bail conditions and he must be arrested, that has got nothing to do with the image of Zimbabwe.
Okay, right. I think let's continue this topic after we hear more tomorrow. I'm going to bring back this discussion tomorrow because I really want us to understand what is happening. I don't want us to talk without understanding. Maybe Hopewell has been arrested for a different case, as you said. So tomorrow, let's hear what has happened. And I want us to end here. There's so many comments. We've got hundreds of comments. Mr. Jonas, if you have time, please go and read through all these comments that we have here. And right. I must say, I sent Hopewell that letter, which I displayed here from Amnesty International about 2 days ago. So I would like to thank, obviously, the guys from Amnesty International. They took an interest in this matter. And the person who wrote this letter is called Wolfgang Maas. He's in Germany. So people are watching what is happening in Zimbabwe. It's not a joke. People are watching, and our country is under the international spotlight. You know, today is the elections in the United States. You'll be surprised that people will be watching this case the same way they're watching the United States elections. So, Mr. Jonasi, thank you very much for joining me, and I really enjoyed talking to you. You've got a different view to most people, and I also want to thank Mr. Matapo for his contribution. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
I think I've said enough, and I can just say good night to Zimbabwe.
Okay, I think more boys, Munet says Hopo is facing new charges. I hope this is not, I wish more boys would be able to join us and tell us more about this. But anyway, tomorrow we'll be able to come back. If he's facing new charges, it becomes a totally different story. As you said, we're not police, we don't know what has happened. But if he's being arrested for violating his bail conditions, it becomes a totally different issue. Because Zimbabweans thought this issue was behind us. You know that Hopewell was in court yesterday on these current cases. So obviously, I don't expect the police to arrest him today when he was in court yesterday. So let's see what happens. Let's get more information tomorrow. And Merindor says, so why are you rushing to talk of things you don't know? That idiot Jonas is very stupid. So Merindor is one of the MDC leaders in the United Kingdom. So you heard it, Mr. Jonasi. I'm sure you are receiving as much as you give. So right. Okay. So thank you very much, Mr. Jonasi, and good night to everyone who's watching on YouTube and Facebook. We'll talk again tomorrow on the same issue.